Hello, everybody. So we had a Module 2 Lesson 2 group quiz practice that we did today, and then we went over it together. So I just wanted to go over it with you if you were absent, right? Or if you needed something. All right, so this first one is just straight addition. So you are adding complex numbers. When we add complex numbers, we just look for like terms. So the parentheses actually mean nothing. You could write it over again just without the parentheses, and that would be acceptable. And then you should notice that the 12 and the plus 11 are like terms, which would give us 23. And then the plus 40i and the negative or minus 32i are like terms. They are different signs, so we'll get a positive 8i. And that is all you can do. The 23 plus 8i stay that way because the I cannot be combined with the 23. Then here, this one is a little more complicated because it's a subtraction problem. So the negative has to go to everything inside the parentheses. So you still have negative 14 plus 22i. But now if I want to get rid of these parentheses, I have negative times 30, so I have minus 30. And then I have negative times minus 12, so that gives us a plus 12i. You should do something in your notes so that you remind yourself what these little arcs mean, right? That we're doing a negative times 30 and a negative times a negative 12i. Now we're back to the same as the first problem. So we're combining like terms. We have negative 14 with negative 30. Same sign, so we're going to add and keep and get negative 44. Then we have a plus 22i and a plus 12i. So we're going to get plus 34i. And then that is all we can do there. So those are for addition and subtraction. You'll have a quiz on that where 2 of them are addition problems like this, and 2 of them are subtraction problems like that. All right. But now when we go on to multiplication, this is where you have to use either the FOIL method or the box method or the distributive method. And since this is a video, I'm going to do all 3 ways on this first problem so that you can have access and see all of those. Box method is my favorite, so I will start with that. So we're going to do 7 plus 9i, which is just that first parentheses. And then I'm going to make that into a box. Put it into a box, just like that. And then the 3 minus 5i go on the side. From there, we multiply the 7 times both terms and the 9i times both terms. So we get 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 9i is 27i. Negative 5i times 7 is negative 35i. And then negative 5i times 9i is negative 45i squared. And then every time we see an I squared, we should get confetti because yay, we have magic about to happen. Because I squared equals a negative 1. And so then we're going to multiply negative 45 times a negative 1, and that gives us a positive 45. You will also see me write it like this, where I just go, oh, that changes this to a positive. Now this works best when you're using colors in your notes, because in pencil, you don't realize that you changed the negative to a positive sign. So you want to make sure that you can see your original negative and watch it change into a positive. And now we combine like terms. So I see that I have 21 and 45 are both regular numbers. So I will combine them. 21 plus 45 equals 66. And then these are also like terms. So negative 35i plus 27i is going to be negative because 35 is bigger than 27. 35 minus 27 will be negative 8i. And then that's it. That's all you need to do. But let's do that again with FOIL method, okay? So if I have 7 plus 9i times 3 minus 5i, when I use FOIL method, we do the first things multiplied by each other. Now I see lots of people will do all of the little lines first, but I find that when we do that, we make more mistakes in our multiplication. So I like to make the line 7 to the 3, and then I want to do the multiplication. So 7 times 3 is 21. Now I'm going to do my outer terms. So 7 times negative 5i is negative 35i. Now I'm going to do my inner terms. Notice again, I write the rainbow or the connection, and then I do the math. 9i times 3 is plus 27i. And then we've got 9i times negative 5i. It's going to give us negative 45i squared. Oh my gosh, I squared. So we have confetti because the magic's about to happen, right? That I squared becomes a negative 1. Negative 45 times 45 is going to give us plus 45. So I have 21, and then these can be combined. Negative 35 plus 27 is going to be minus 8i. So I have 21 minus 8i plus 45. Now I can combine the 45 and the 21. And that gives us 66 minus 8i. Check it out. Doesn't matter how you do it, right? You get the same answer. Sorry, that wasn't showing. All right. And then you could also do it where we do the distributive property. This one isn't used quite as often, but it's the same steps. So if we have 7 plus 9i times 3 minus 5i, we can do 7 times 3 minus 5i plus 9i times 3 minus 5i. And then you guys are really good at this kind of distributing because it's just one term each. So we go 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times negative 5i is negative 35i. 9i times 3 is plus 27i. 9 times negative 5i is negative 45i squared. Woohoo! An I squared. So we have confetti because we have magic about to happen. That I squared becomes a negative 1. Multiplying it, we're going to get a plus 45 instead of a negative 45. We still have 21. And then these, we can combine like terms. Negative 35i plus 27i is negative 8i. Now I can combine the 21 with the 45 so that we get 66 minus 8i. Check it out. Doesn't matter how you do it. 3 choices of how to do it. They all turn out the same. Okay. And again, that would be your answer. Your 66 minus 8i is your answer. So now the division problem is kind of funny because although it's a division problem and it's called a division problem, it's really just a whole bunch of multiplication, just like this one that we just did. The first step is you have to find the conjugate of this bottom term. Our bottom term, 8 minus 3i, we need to multiply by the conjugate so that we end up with no i's, no complex numbers in our denominator. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply times the conjugate. What's the conjugate, you ask? It's almost the same. It has the 8 and the 3i, but if you have a negative or a minus in the middle, the conjugate is going to have a plus. Same idea, if this were a plus in the denominator, we would make the conjugate have a minus. And then whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So it's going to be 8 plus 3i over 8 plus 3i. The reason this works is because that is 1. And now we have to multiply these two binomials just like we did over here. And we're going to do it to the bottom as well. We'll multiply those two just like we did on the left. All right, I like to rewrite it. Usually in class, I ask if you'd like to do the top first or the bottom first. It doesn't matter. However, I notice when people do the top first, they sometimes forget to do the bottom at all. They just get all excited that they're done with a problem. So just be careful of that. All right, so I'm going to do the top first. 6 plus 4i times 8 plus 3i. I do like the box method, so that's what I'm going to use. My side terms will be an 8 and a 3i. Need to get change markers. That one's falling apart. And then we multiply. You're going to multiply everything times each other, right? 6 times everything on the left, and then 4i times everything on the left. So 6 times 8 is 48. 6 times 3i is 18i. 4i times 8 is 32i. 4i times 3i is 12i squared. Woohoo! Confetti! Let's watch the magic happen, right? That's going to make this a negative 12. Because positive 12 times negative 1 would be a negative 12. And now I can combine these two because they're both regular numbers. So that'll give me 48 minus 12, 36. So I have 36. If you like it written out, we can write it this way as well. 48 minus 12 is 36. Then I can also combine these because they're both i's. So we get plus 18i plus 32i. I like to write mine vertically, so I'll do it this way. That gives me 50. So I get plus 50i. And that is the top, right? That is only the top. So I'm going to put that over here as my numerator. And now I still have to do this math at the bottom to get the bottom number. So I could do it in box method again. So that's what I'll do. See here, we have 8 minus 3i, and then I can make my box. And then we have 8 plus 3i. And now we multiply. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times 3i is 24i. Negative 3i times 8 is negative 24i. And then 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. I times I is I squared. Yay! Confetti, the magic happens. Right? I squared equals negative 1. Then negative 9 times negative 1 equals positive 9. And so since I have a positive number, I can add those together, right? And we get 64 plus 9 equals 73. And then here's the extra magic. This is the whole reason that we use the conjugate, right? The same numbers with different signs is because now the 24i minus 24i, that equals 0. So there's nothing there. And so 73 is actually what becomes our denominator. And that's it. Now, it didn't happen on this one, but we should be aware that sometimes you can factor something out of your numerator and reduce it with your denominator. So I'm just going to show what that would look like, even though it didn't work out for this problem. So let me make some sort of box so that we know this is totally different, okay? So example of reducing. So let's say that our answer ended up being like 36 plus 40i all over 20. Okay. Now, you do have to kind of know your times tables to be able to see what you can factor out, but automatically I should see that all three of these are even numbers, so I should be able to take out a 2. But I also know that 4 times 9 is 36, so I could take out a 4. And then 4 times 10 is 40, so I could take a 4 out from there. And then 20, 4 times 5 is 20, so I could take a 4 out from there. So I'm going to factor out a 4. 4 times 9 is 36. 4 times 10i is 40i all over. And then you can just write 20, but you could also write 4 times 5 if that helps you see that we are reducing the 4 over 4, because 4 over 4 equals 1. And that would leave us with an answer of 9 plus 10i all over 5. And that is what our quiz was on today. So if you missed the quiz or you need to retake the quiz, I hope that this was helpful. Remember always to pause as you go, catch up your notes. If you have questions, write them down, email me, ask me in class. Thanks so much. Have a great time.